My beloved child, right now, as your heart opens and you begin to listen, I hasten to write you this letter not because I fear you will forget me, but because I know you need to hear me in this very moment. There are things I cannot delay, for your preparation has reached its fullness. You are the one I have chosen next. I have waited long for you. And now, you need to know that, my dear one, do you remember the last time you sighed in weariness? Perhaps it was just this morning, or only minutes ago. You looked around and wondered, why has my life become so hard? Why do all my efforts seem in vain? Why do I keep praying and see nothing change? I have seen it all. I have heard it all. I have always been there. My eyes have never left you, not even for a second. This letter I write today is not to make you feel small or full of fault. On the contrary, I want you to understand something deeply important. You are being seen, you are being prepared. Every step, every tear, every time you've fallen and risen again, it has all mattered. All of it has been shaping you into the very one I need, strong yet tender, courageous yet humble, seasoned yet still full of faith. My child, life is not always as clear as the morning light, and I know you have walked through many dark roads. Sometimes they stretched so long that you feared you were lost forever. But no, you have never been beyond my reach. Your silence did not mean I wasn't listening. It meant I was arranging for all that you need to unfold at just the right time. You are part of a greater plan, the plan I wrote before you were formed in your mother's womb. Yes, you are not an accident or a random spark of chance. You do not exist merely to toil for survival or to grow weary under the weight of repeated disappointments. You exist to live fully, to reflect my light in this world, a world filled with many other souls. Just as lost as you once were, I know there were times when you questioned me, and that does not grieve me. I understand. I am your father, and a loving father is not afraid of his child's questions. I do not require you to be flawless. I ask that you be honest and tender before me. I have seen you pray with tears no one else could see. I have watched you choose forgiveness when you had every right to be angry. I have seen you get up and go to work day after day, even when your heart was breaking. These things are not invisible to me. On the contrary, they are proof of a quiet strength the world cannot see, but I see it. You ask me, why me? And I answer, because you held on to faith when no one else would. End of her. You ask, am I good enough? And I say, I don't need you to be perfect, I need you to be willing. End of her. You ask, can I keep going? And I respond, yes, because I will walk with you. End of her. I have seen within you a soul that refuses to surrender its light, even when life tried to drown you in darkness. I know you are not perfect, but I also see this clearly. You have not given up, and that alone makes you extraordinary. Today, our focus is not on complex theology, nor on miracles from the heavens. Today, I simply want to speak of perseverance, that quiet virtue you have held onto in your heart through long winters, broken relationships, and unfinished dreams. Do you know that every time you chose to rise after falling, heaven rejoiced? Every time you forgave instead of retaliating, loved instead of envying, pressed on instead of giving up, you were engaging in a battle far greater than you imagined. And in that battle, you are a warrior of light. You were chosen not because you are the strongest, but because you are the most faithful. I am not looking for those without scars. I am looking for those who do not quit, even when covered in wounds. And that, dear one, is who you are. So when I say, you are the one I choose next, I am not merely speaking of a blessing. I am speaking of a new season, A new door, a new calling is unfolding, not to make you famous, but to bring you into the fullness of the purpose I wrote for you from the beginning. And so, my beloved, listen to me now for this one sacred hour. Do not divide your attention with the noise of the world. I have prepared this gift for you, not a fleeting miracle, but a lasting light, a light warm enough to heal, bright enough to lead, and true enough to change the way you see yourself. My beloved child, do you know that before the first light ever shone, before this world even took shape, I had already thought of you? You are not the result of coincidence, nor the accidental product of life. Every cell in your body, every breath you take, every beat of your heartbeat was carefully woven by my hand. You are a vision I lovingly nurtured, a plan crafted by my own fingers. As I spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah 1-5. You see, your presence in this world was never an accident. My child, when you look at yourself and wonder, who am I? What makes me special? Remember, it was I who placed you in the right generation, the right family, the right circumstances. You were born at the exact moment to fulfill a part in my eternal plan. You may think of yourself as just ordinary, but in my eyes, you are a precious instrument, chosen to shine light in a world filled with darkness. Do not compare yourself to others, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works. Ephesians 2:10. I designed you in a way no one else can replicate. You know, even David, forgotten among his brothers, dismissed by his own father, was someone I chose in quiet obscurity. When the prophet Samuel came to Jesse's house to anoint a future king, he didn't imagine the youngest shepherd boy would be the one I had chosen. But I declared, the Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16-7. My dear child, just like David, I have seen the depths of your heart, what no one else sees, and that is what makes you precious to me. There are days you feel invisible, as if your presence makes no difference at all. But listen to me, every step you take, every word of kindness you speak, every good deed you do is recorded in heaven's memory. None of it is in vain. I see your efforts, even when no one else acknowledges them. I see your patience in the face of doubt, your love despite the hurt, and your trust even when the path is unclear. These very things confirm that you are the one I have chosen, the one I am preparing for, something great to come. I know you've sometimes thought I chose the wrong person. You may feel you are not capable enough, not strong enough, not good enough to carry something significant. But, my child, I am not looking for perfection. I choose the willing. Moses, who once hesitated, stuttered, and trembled when I called him to lead my people out of bondage, asked me, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? Exodus 3:11. But I did not send him alone. And likewise, I will not send you alone. I will be the voice in your mouth, the strength in your hands, and the guide for every step you take. So, my child, stand firm in the assurance that you are not forgotten. I know your name. I know the deepest desires of your heart. I do not call you just once, I call you every day, through dreams, through gentle nudges, and even through the silence. Remember, my choice is not based on what you can do today, but on the future I see within you. And because I am the beginning and the finisher, I will not stop until you have completed your purpose. You are the one I have chosen, not because you are strong, but because I am with you, not because you have all the answers, but because you chose to trust me among countless questions. I did not choose you on a whim, I chose you to join me in changing this world, one soul at a time, one act of love at a time. So walk forward, my beloved, with the faith that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Philippians 1-6. I have begun a good work in you, and I will complete it because I never withdraw my calling. There are seasons in life when you feel like you're walking alone, across a vaste désert, without a single answer from heaven. I know in those moments, you begin to wonder, where are you? Lord, do you hear me? Have you abandoned me? I do not blame you for those questions. I understand your loneliness, the aching sense of being forgotten after you've prayed, waited, and hoped. But, my child, silence does not mean absence. It is simply the way I move when you are not yet ready to hear my full voice. Even when you feel nothing, I am still there. My presence is not dictated by your fleeting emotions. As I have spoken through Psalm 139-710, where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. Do not let the feeling of being lost deceive you. You are not forsaken. My heart still beats in rhythm with yours. My eyes still follow your every step, and my hands remain outstretched, waiting for you to take hold. Remember the prophet Elijah, man, who had seen my power in mighty miracles, and yet was once so afraid that he wanted to die, hiding in a cave, crying out, I am the only one left. 1 Kings 19:10. But I did not leave him in despair. I did not come to him in the wind, or earthquake, or fire, but in a gentle whisper. I want you to understand, I am not only in the spectacular, I am also in the stillness, and it is in that stillness that your spirit will learn to listen by faith, not by feelings. There are things I am doing in your life that you cannot yet see. While you sleep, I am still at work. When you are silent, I am still listening. When you don't know how to pray, I still understand the size of your heart. There is a deep connection between you and me that is not dependent on words or gestures. My love doesn't need you to feel it in order to exist. It is always there, steadfast and unchanging. And as I promised in Hebrews 13:5, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Sometimes I remain silent not to test you, but so you might learn to trust me without seeing. This is part of growing in faith, to keep walking forward even when there is no light ahead. Like a father teaching his child to walk, I know when to hold your hand and when to let go so you may stand on your own. But know this, even when you stumble, I am right there, ready to catch you at any moment. Not a single fall in your life is beyond my reach. Every time you think you've gone too far, remember, I have never taken my eyes off you, even when others forget you. When relationships fall apart, when someone turns their back on you, I remain. I do not change. I am the faithful one, and I keep my promises. When you need a place to rest, when there is no one left by your side, remember that I am your refuge, not just emotionally, but a strong shelter for your soul. So next time you look up and see only a silent sky, don't think I am absent. It is in those very moments that I am drawing closer than ever before. I am not the God who appears only in joy. I am the one who stays when everyone else walks away. Let your heart grow still, and you will hear me. I never promised you would always feel me, but I did promise you would never walk alone. You may have thought that if I loved you, I would never let you suffer, would never let the tears fall, would never allow the storm to come suddenly. But true love is not about keeping you away from hardship. It is about walking with you through every trial, using each one to shape you into the image I've destined for you. Like the potter molding clay with both hands and fire, I am shaping your life with love and teaching. When I allow adversity, it's not because I've turned away or forgotten you, but because I see the greater good being formed behind what you do not yet understand. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. There are things that can only be built in you through endurance. Faith cannot grow in comfort any more than muscles grow without resistance. I do not rejoice in your suffering, but I rejoice in your growth that comes through it. In moments of helplessness, you discover a strength that doesn't come from within yourself, but from me. It is in the darkness that my light shines the clearest. It is when you lose control that you begin to see that I am the one who holds all things together. As Paul wrote in Romans 5:3-4, we also glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope. Hensley, I know the trials have wearied you. I know you feel like giving up, but let me remind you of this. The tears you shed are not in vain. They are watering the seeds I've planted in you, seeds of endurance, humility, and unwavering faith. Don't mistake my silence for indifference. Just as a seed lies beneath the earth in silence and darkness before it grows, so too does transformation begin in hidden places. And in due time, I will cause it to sprout, to bud, and to bear fruit, not ordinary fruit. But éternel fruit. Enough to nourish many. You don't see it all, but I do. I know what trials will make you grow, and I know your limits too. I will never allow you to be broken. God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. 1 Corinthians 10:13. I don't merely allow challenges, I walk through them with you. Every time you fall, I am there to lift you. Every time you're weary, I will strengthen you. I never promised to remove every burden, but I did promise to help you carry them. And when the season of trial passes, you will look back and see a new person in the mirror, stronger, deeper, and closer to me. No one grows in comfort. No one discovers their true self when life is easy. I love you too much to leave you in safety forever. I lead you into the fire, but I stand with you in the flame, never letting it burn beyond what is needed. I am the one who refines you like gold, so that you may shine and be trustworthy for what I've prepared ahead. So when trials come, don't let go. Don't rush to blame or give up. Remember, you are being trained, not abandoned. What seems like an obstacle today might be the bridge for tomorrow. I am building within you a foundation that will endure. Let your heart rest in this truth. My love will never allow you to suffer without purpose. If I have allowed it, then I am preparing you for something far greater. You may think that tears are signs of weakness, of failure, of helplessness. But I want you to know, in my eyes, tears are never trivial. Every time you cry in silence, every sleepless night when words fail you, I have been there, not with judgment, but with deep compassion. I not only see your tears, I collect them, as if they were precious gems. As it is written in Psalm 56:8, you keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. I won. You don't need eloquent words or lengthy prayers for me to understand what's on your heart. Pain has its own language, a language that requires no words, and I comprehend it more fully than anyone else. Your tears are sacred petitions that rise to heaven. quiet whispers in loneliness that only I can hear. Don't think that just because no one sees your weeping, it is meaningless. In the unseen realm, that is the very moment when heaven moves. That is when I am working silently, yet profoundly. You don't need to hide your sorrow from me. I am no stranger to suffering. For my own son Gazes wept at the pain of others. He wept when he saw Martha and Mary grieving the loss of their brother. And Scripture records simply, "Yet weightily Jesus wept," John 11:35. This reveals that I am not only the Almighty Creator, I am also a Father full of compassion and feeling. When you cry, I don't merely comfort you, I cry with you. Your pain touches my heart. Not because you are more special than others, but because you are my child, and I am never indifferent to what wounds you. Every tear shed in faith becomes a testimony. I do not let them fall in vain. They are softening the soil of your heart, preparing it for something new to bloom. Do not fear crying before me. Don't hold it all inside. Let it pour out like a stream returning to its source, so that I may reach deep within and heal you from the root. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5-4, that is a promise, not empty consolation. And I, the one who promised, am also the one who fulfills. At times, you may not see results right away. The pain may linger longer than you expected, and the tears may still not dry. But know this, every time you choose to weep in surrender rather than in bitterness or blame, you are drawing nearer to true healing. You are allowing me to work deep in your spirit in a place no word can touch, but where my love can reach. It is in brokenness that you will come to know the greatness of my restoring power, and the day will come when your tears will no longer be burdens. They will become evidence that you were once weak, once fallen, once aching, but you did not give up. You will tell your story, and those tears will become the language of empathy, of healing, and of restoration for others. Because what I have gathered, I will create something far greater than you can imagine. You often mistake the difficult seasons in your life as signs of my anger or distance, but I want you to know this deeply. The trials you are going through are not punishment. They are not signs that I have abandoned or condemned you. Rather, they are spiritual classrooms that I, myself, have designed not to break you, but to strengthen you, to make you wiser, and to prepare you for the greater things that lie ahead. Like a loving father, I do not give you everything easily, for true love does not indulge. It equips. Do you remember what I spoke through Hebrews 12-6? For the Lord disciplines the one he loves, and chastises every son whom he receives. If I let you live in comfort always, you would be unprepared when strong winds blow. But because you are chosen for greater work, I must allow you to walk through hard paths, not to hurt you, but to mature you, not to make you afraid, but to teach you to trust. Every situation I allow holds within it a very specific purpose for spiritual formation. I know you're tired. I know there are moments when you feel like giving up because you can't see the meaning behind your suffering. But you don't realize that when you hold on to faith in the midst of hardship, your soul is being fortified. Like a warrior training daily in armor, I am equipping you not for a life of ease, but for an eternal mission. You cannot help the hurting if you've never known hurt. You cannot offer comfort if you've never needed it from me. What you see today as adversity will one day become your instrument. The experience you gain through sorrow will become testimony. The prayers that go unanswered for now will teach you perseverance. The tears you cry today will soften your heart toward the suffering of others. I am training you not merely to survive, but to influence, to lead, to bring hope to those who have yet to know me. As it is written in 2 Timothy 2:21. If anyone cleanses himself from what is dishonorable, he will be a vessel for honorable use, set apart as holy, useful to the master, ready for every good work. Enzro, so do not resent my discipline. Do not call the training cruelty. It is a sign that I trust you. I am entrusting you with a portion of my kingdom's work. Not everyone is called in this way. And because of that, the training will not be easy. But you will not walk through it alone. I am there watching each step, strengthening you through every challenge, wiping every spiritual sweat, and lifting you each time you stumble. You are not abandoned in this process. You are being led in love and purpose. When you are ready to look back, you will see that you are no longer the same person. You will see how I have refined you with fire, yet did not let you be consumed. You will recognize that the scars became your badge of honor. The pain became your testimony, and the trials became your foundation. And when the time comes, you will understand. Everything I allowed you to go through was necessary not to harm you, but to prepare you for what you never dared to dream. You cannot count the number of times I have acted on your behalf without your knowing. While you were asleep, I was working. While you were confused, I was clearing the path. When you thought nothing was happening, I was orchestrating every detail to shield you from dangers your eyes had never seen. On earth, it may seem like you're waiting, but in the heavens, I am fighting not because I am weak or delayed, but because I am moving in realms the natural eye cannot perceive. In Exodus 14:20, I spoke through Moses. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. And that word still holds true for you today. Not every battle you face is meant to be fought outwardly. Some battles take place in your mind, your emotions, your circumstances, and they are not yours to fight alone. But that is not abandonment. That is when I am fighting for you in the spiritual realm, in the hearts of others, and in divine timing. Remember the story of Daniel. When he prayed and sought wisdom from me, it seemed as though nothing happened for the first 21 days. But do you know, my angel was dispatched from the very first day, but was held back by the forces of darkness in the unseen realm. Eventually, the archangel Michael had to come to assist, so the message could break through. Daniel 10:12-13. You see, from the day you prayed, I acted, but in the invisible realm, great clashes take place, clashes you do not see. Even so, I never allow the resistance to win forever. There have been many times you felt surrounded, doors closed, relationships fractured, opportunities vanished. But you did not know the traps I dismantled before they could reach you, the slander I silenced, the enemy's schemes I rendered powerless. It is because I held your hand firmly that you were not struck down. And much of what I do for you is in silence, because I do not need noise to prove my love. Just like when Elisha and his servant were surrounded by enemy forces, the servant panicked. But Elisha prayed, "O Lord, open his eyes so he may see." 2 Kings 6:17. And when the servant's eyes were opened, he saw chariots of fire and heavenly horsemen covering the hills around them. They were not alone. And the same is true for you. Though you cannot see, the host of heaven encamps around you to protect. You do not fight alone, for I, the Lord your God, go before you. I do not merely fight for you, I arrange circumstances, move hearts, and cause all things to work together for your good. Sometimes, I delay a door to protect you from a consequence you cannot yet see. Sometimes, I prolong a relationship to teach you a lesson before bringing you to a better one. Everything I do is intentional, and my protection is not only in shielding you from harm, but in positioning you for what is good. So when it seems like nothing is happening, don't mistake that for silence. It may be the time when I'm working on something of great importance that I cannot yet reveal, like a director preparing the lights, the stage, and the cast behind the curtain for the most critical scene. I am preparing that for you, and when the time is right, it will all become clear. You do not have to fight with your own strength. I have been there on your battlefield, even when you thought you were alone. Be strong. Keep praying. Keep trusting. For the battle is not yours, but mine, and I never fail. You have wondered why those who once promised to stay have left. You placed your trust in them, gave your heart to relationships you thought were secure, only to see them turn away, betray you, or simply disappear. I know it hurt. It disoriented you, and at times, even made you lose faith in others. But my child, not every departure is a loss. Many times, it is a cleansing, a part of my plan to leave only those necessary for the road ahead. I do not remove from your life what is vital. I separate what no longer aligns with the mission I've placed within you. There are people meant only for a season, not for the entire journey. If I had not intervened, you would have continued holding on to connections, no longer life-giving things that slowed you down, clouded your discernment, or even pulled you off course. I love you too much to let you stay bound to what stunts your growth. Remember what I spoke in John 15:2. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that bears fruit he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. My removing someone from your life is not punishment, it is preparation. Think of Judas Iscariot, walked with my son, Jesus, for 3 years. He heard his teachings, witnessed miracles, and yet at the appointed time, he was the one who betrayed him with a kiss. It was a bitter betrayal, but it was also part of the path to redemption. Judas was not stronger than I, rather. I used even betrayal to push Jesus toward where he needed to go, the cross. If my son had to face betrayal to fulfill his mission, then you will not be exempt from it as I prepare you for greater things. I do not teach you to be tough so that you'll never be hurt, but I train you so that when hurt comes, you can still rise with your kindness intact. Those who leave you behind are not evil. They are simply no longer meant to walk with you into the next part of your journey. Just as Abraham had to part ways with Lot, just as David was pursued by Saul, just as Paul was deserted by many, you, too, will experience such seasons. Yet in every loss, I am clearing space around you to pour in something new people, hearts that will listen, and companions ready to walk with you in humility, reverence, and faithfulness. Do not cling to what I have already removed. Do not blame those who are no longer by your side. Give thanks to me, for I see what you do not. I know who is a burden and who is a blessing. Their absence is the condition for my presence to become clearer. And when you learn to let go in peace, you will begin to see new doors open, places where people will not only walk with you, but also support you, intercede for you, and love you rightly. There is a principle I want you to remember always. Not everyone who starts with you will finish with you, but those who remain after the pruning, after the headwinds, these are the ones I have kept. They are not perfect, but they are faithful. They may not be the most gifted, but they have the heart suited for the road ahead, and I will place them at the right time, in the right place to walk with you and fulfill the portion I have entrusted to you. Let me choose the people for your life. Do not plead for what is already past. Move forward with open hands, clear eyes, and a heart free of bitterness, because when you understand that even betrayal can be grace in disguise, you will no longer see yourself as a victim, but as one refined, prepared, and led by my hand. I have watched over you not only in your days of success, but also in your days of collapse and rising again. You may not realize it, but every time you chose to keep walking in faith even when weary, even when your lips had no more prayers, those were the moments you displayed the very thing I value most: faithfulness. Perseverance is not about moving fast, but about not giving up. And you did not give up. You still believed in me, even before seeing the promise fulfilled. That is not meaningless. I see it. And I remember, you don't need to do anything extraordinary to prove you're qualified for the new season. Just keep your heart sincere. Keep walking step by step in faithfulness. And don't let bitterness take root in your soul. That is what I treasure. Hebrews 10:36 says, you need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised. You are not waiting in vain, but waiting in trust that what I began, I will also complete. And when you endure the dry season, it is a sign that you are ready for the rain of blessing. I am not moved by speed. I am moved by faithfulness. I do not require you to be strong all the time. I simply ask that you do not quit. When you choose to keep loving, keep forgiving, keep praying in silence. It is in those moments that you prove yourself trustworthy for greater things. Those who rush often lose heart, but those who endure know the worth of waiting on the Lord. I am using every moment of your faithfulness to lay the foundation for the next season. Do not think that your perseverance goes unseen by me. Every time you keep going through weariness, every time you hold your peace without complaint, every time you refuse to abandon the position I've placed you in, you are storing up treasure in eternity. For God is not unjust to forget your work and the love you have shown Him. Hebrews 6:10. What you do for me, even if no one else knows, is being recorded in the memory of heaven. A new season does not begin with trumpets or brilliant lights. It begins in the quiet of a faithful heart. I see in you a steadfastness that no longer requires applause. You don't wait for others to agree before you move. You don't wait for praise before doing well. And because of that, you are ready. I am opening a new season not as a reward for perfection, but for faithfulness. You have held fast to what I gave you. Now be ready to receive what I am giving. So do not give up right at the threshold of change. Do not assume that just because things appear unchanged, you are on the wrong path. I am the faithful one, and I give reward at the appointed time. Just as the farmer cannot harvest the day after sowing, you too are in a waiting season, but the harvest is coming. And you will see everything you faithfully preserved: your faith, your purity. Your obedience was never in vain. You don't know how many times you've asked me, why? Why must the wait be so long? Why do things become so tangled? Why do others seem to move ahead while you remain stuck? I see the weariness in your eyes. I hear the sigh in your heart. And I know that what hurts you most is not just the adversity but the silence. But I also see this: you have held on to faith not when things were clear, but when all was fog, and that is what sets you apart. True faith does not require explanations. True faith walks where no path is paved, believes without seeing, and waits when nothing can be heard. As it is written in Hebrews 11:1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you hold on to me without any visible assurance, you are doing what many do not have the courage to do. I do not take that kind of faith lightly. On the contrary, I treasure it more than pure gold, for it is born of genuine faithfulness. I do not demand perfect faith from you. I only ask for a steadfast heart. I know there are days when all you can whisper is, I still believe in you, even as your heart trembles. But that whisper resounds loudly in heaven. It is the hymn of a maturing soul, because true faith is not a feeling, it is a decision. When you choose to trust me in the dark, you are proclaiming that I am greater than your circumstances, and that moves me deeply. You may not realize it, but when you walk through the pitch-black valleys, you are being shaped. Not seeing the path does not mean I am not ahead of you. Not hearing an answer does not mean I am not listening. What you do not know cannot destroy what you already believe if you keep holding on to me. I am the unchanging one. When you do not understand, remember this: you are not walking alone. I am there not to explain, but to hold your hand. You have remained steadfast, and that is evidence that you have learned to live by faith, not by sight. I will reward that perseverance. For no act of faith ever fades into oblivion. Without faith, it is impossible to please God, Hebrews 11:6, and you have pleased me, not through dazzling success, but through quiet, enduring belief. So do not demand every answer. For I have not called you to walk by understanding, I have called you to walk by faith. And when the time is right, what is unclear will become clear, and every hesitant step will lead you to solid ground. But it is your faith in the darkness today that is creating tomorrow's light. I see you and I am well pleased. Since I formed you in your mother's womb, I have not only destined what you would receive, but also what you were called to give. Your life is not just a journey to be fulfilled, but a journey to become an answer. I bless you not so you can store it up, but so my blessing may flow through you like a river that holds no water for itself, but brings life to all it touches. I declare, you are my chosen vessel, not only to receive, but to become my presence upon the earth. My child, I do not only desire that you be satisfied, but that others be satisfied through you. I once said to Abraham, the father of faith, I will bless you, and you will be a blessing to many nations. Genesis 12:2. That promise was not for him alone. It is for all who carry a divine calling. When I chose you, it was not merely so you could experience my love, but so others could experience it through your life. But to become a blessing, you must be ready for responsibility. For every time I speak a blessing, I also place within your hands a portion of kingdom work. A blessing is not just a reward, it is a commission. You are forgiven, so you may learn to forgive. You are comforted, so you may comfort others. You are led, so that one day you may hold the hand of someone who is lost. Everything I do for you is part of a greater plan, and you are the beginning, not the end. Look to Esther, young Jewish woman placed in the palace not for luxury, but to become the instrument of salvation for an entire people. She was not chosen for beauty alone, but for her willingness to step out of safety into sacred responsibility. The mother of her people, the one who saved her nation not for fame, but for a calling greater than life itself. I said, who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Esther 4:14. And that is true for you as well. You are where you are today, not by accident but by assignment. I know there are times when you feel unworthy. You think you must be fully healed before you can help others. But you forget I use the cracks to let my light shine through. I do not wait for your perfection before I call you. I say, be willing, and I will empower. The small things you do today, a word of encouragement, a hug, a prayer on someone's behalf, are affecting more lives than you realize. To be a blessing is not always easy. Sometimes you will have to give even when you still feel lacking. Sometimes you will have to love even when you have not been loved in return. But in those very moments, you reflect me the most. For I loved you while you opposed me, gave to you before you responded, and died for you before you ever asked. When you live like that, you are not just following me, You are becoming a living image of me in this world. Remember, you were not made merely to receive. You were made to reflect me. I declare, you are the salt of the earth, the light of the world, Matthew 5:13-14. And when you embrace that truth, you will witness something. Miraculous blessing will begin to overflow not just to you, but through you. You will become the answer to someone's prayer. You will become the light in someone else's dark day. And as you become a source of blessing to others, you are stepping into the fullness I have prepared for you. My dear child, you have walked through moments where it seemed there was nothing left to hold on to. Pain came in waves. Betrayal struck without warning. And losses fell upon you faster than you could recover. There were times when you believed this was the end. But I want you to pause right there and listen closely. Remember this, what the enemy intended to use to destroy you. I have the authority to turn into a launching pad to lift you higher. Not a single wound you carry is meaningless. There is no fall that I cannot use to rebuild something more beautiful. When the enemy plots harm, I am working in parallel to transform it into a plan of restoration. It is in the very place that seems weakest where I move with greatest power. I once declared this through the words of Joseph, the one who was sold by his own brothers. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done. The saving of many lives, Genesis 50-20. If I could do that for Joseph, then know that I am doing the same in your life. You cannot yet see behind the spiritual veil, where I am reshaping every sorrow into opportunity. You may have been misunderstood, rejected, or severed from what once felt safe. But I have not allowed these things to crush you. I've allowed them to cut away what no longer serves the mission I've prepared for you. Every push from behind is moving you closer to the place I have called you. Every wound, when placed in my hands, becomes a mark of victory, not of failure. Look at David, the one who was once despised, hunted by Saul, and wandered like an outcast. Yet it was in those years of pursuit and hiding that I shaped a king after my own heart. Without the wounds, there would be no depth in his psalms. Without the pain, there would be no heart that weeps with the broken. And it was through that very man that I wrote the Psalms words that still nourish the spiritual lives of millions. Remember this, the enemy is only allowed to strike within limits that I set. And every limit has a purpose. When he strikes, I bury the most precious part of you deeper, just as a farmer must bury a seed into the ground before life springs forth. Don't just focus on the pain. Look at my hands that are molding your pain into something more beautiful, more profound, more powerful. You may think victory means standing on a platform without a scratch, but true victory is found in wounds that have been healed. It's in your refusal to give up, to grow bitter, to let your heart grow cold. That is victory. You are overcoming, not in a grand display for the world to see, but in a quiet, radiant way before heaven. As I have said, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. Romans 8:37. I never promised you wouldn't be attacked, but I did promise that you wouldn't be destroyed. What the enemy uses to harm you, I am using to clear a path for you. And one day, you, the one who once wept, will be the one I send. The one who once thought they were abandoned will rise to bring healing to others. Because your wounds are no longer burdens, they are proof of a victory written before the battle even began. My precious one, I know there are parts of your past you'd rather not revisit. There are chapters of your life that still sting when the winds of memory blow. You've wondered if I truly loved you, why I allowed those things to happen. But I tell you, nothing in your life is wasted. No pain is pointless. No failure is surplus. Each has been placed by me in its appointed time and place. Like essential pieces in the refining journey, so that you are not just a soul that survived, but a radiant vessel, forged in fire and tempered in truth. Listen to this. Gold is not made precious unless it passes through fire, and neither is your soul. I did not allow the fire to consume you, but to refine you. I spoke in Malachi 3:3. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver, so they may present offerings in righteousness. I sit there never taking my eyes off the fire, and never taking my eyes off you. Each time you hurt, I was there, ensuring the flame never exceeded what was necessary. You thought you were about to break, but it was in that very moment I did something only love dares to do. I restored your soul from the roots. So, my child, do not be ashamed of what you've been through. You're past every wound, and every scar has its place in my design. They do not make you less. On the contrary, they shape you into the one I am using today. I do not need you to hide the places that once cracked. I use those very cracks to let the light shine through. You thought the seasons of pain were times of abandonment, but in truth, they were the seasons when I worked in you most deeply and quietly. If today you find yourself calmer, wiser, more patient, more gentle, it is because of all that you've walked through. Not everyone will understand, but I do. I know exactly why each event had to happen, and I am turning every one of those experiences into sacred material for the new season. You are stepping in tow with a steadier heart, a deeper faith, and a more complete love. So do not be afraid to look back at the past, not to relive the pain, but to see that I was present in every step. You were not abandoned. You were not rejected. You did not fail. You were refined. And when gold emerges from the fire, no one sees the mud anymore. What they see is the radiant glow of what is pure. That is what I am doing in you. What makes you stand out to me among many is not your ability or your reputation, but your willingness. I look at a heart that obeys, a heart that walks even when it does not have everything in hand, and it is that heart that makes you the head and not the tail. It is not your circumstances that elevate you. It is your spiritual posture before me that lifts you up in the way I have ordained. You may think your worth depends on the job you do or the position you hold, but I tell you the truth. Your worth is determined by me, your Father, the one who has chosen you, who has called you, who has placed you precisely where you belong in the greater plan. As I declared in Deuteronomy 28:13, the Lord will make you the head, not the tail. You will always be at the top, never at the bottom. If you obey the commands of the Lord your God, the condition is not your strength, but your willingness and obedience. I do not use the most qualified. I use the most willing. Those who dare to say, "Here I am," even when they know they are not perfect, but trust that I will supply what is lacking. You don't need to push your way into someone else's place because the place for you has already been prepared by me. Just step into it with an open heart, and I will grant you the grace to stand firm in it. Your name and purpose do not come from what people assign, but from what I have established. Look at Joseph, once a slave, betrayed, imprisoned, mistreated in countless ways. And yet, he kept a pure and willing heart. When the moment came, he did not need to build anything new, simply stepped out, because he had already been prepared from within. The one who raises up and brings down used his circumstances to shape his character, not to define his worth. And in the end, he was elevated to be a governor, leading an entire nation through famine. So it is with you. Don't let circumstances cloud your view of yourself. No matter where you are, if you remain faithful, steadfast, and willing, I will use you. I will not only raise you to a place of influence, I will position your heart rightly when you get there, without pride, without weariness, without doubt. That is why I allow certain circumstances to test your posture, not to bring you low, but to prove that you are worthy of what I have prepared. Remember this: willingness is not always visible to the eye, but it echoes through heaven. Every time you say yes while others say no, you are moving closer to your true identity, not because you are superior, but because you are humble, trusting, and committed, and I will honor that. You are the head, not the tail, not because you are currently above, but because you have chosen to live rightly even while still beneath. And in due time, I will lift you up not to dominate, but to serve in my name, with a strong heart and a willing spirit. My faithful child, I know you still carry regrets about the past. There were words you wish you hadn't spoken, steps you wish you hadn't taken, decisions you wish you could undo. I've seen your eyes drop when those memories arise, and I've heard the quiet whisper in your heart, maybe I missed my chance. But today, I want you to know a truth deeper than every scar from the past. My promise to you is not altered by your failures, but anchored in my eternal and unchanging love. I do not write your destiny in erasable ink, I write it in grace. And that grace is not fragile in the face of your mistakes, but strong enough to overcome them. As I declared in Romans 11:29, for the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Do you hear that? Irrevocable. Even when you've taken detours, even when you've doubted, even when you've turned away, I have held onto my word, onto your place, and onto your calling. I do not make promises based on what you can do for me. I promise based on what I already saw in you before you even knew me. My love is not like human. Love it does not love, only when you are strong, and withdraw when you are weak. My love restores, heals, covers, and leads you back to where you belong. Don't let forgiven sins steal the faith you have in me. You are forgiven, and you are still chosen. Yes, you too. I have never given up on you, even when you thought you ruined everything. I stayed true to my word, even when you turned away. I remained at the end of the road, waiting for your return. Not because you never failed, but because I foresaw it. Alan still chose you. That is what makes my love different. It is not conditional, but grounded in an eternal covenant. So rise up. Do not let the past dim the light of my promise. Let your heart be renewed in this truth. I am still here. I am still calling you, and my words still stand. No failure is great enough to cancel what I have ordained for you, so long as you are willing to return, willing to move forward. My promise is not for the perfect. My promise is for those who trust in my unchanging love. My beloved child, I did not create you as a mass-produced being. I did not call you to blend into the crowd and fade away. I called you for a purpose that is unique, crafted for you alone. In this world, no one can fulfill the mission you were created for in the exact way you were called to do it. I declared, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart and appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah 1-5. That word was not just for Jeremiah, it is for every person I have chosen. And you are one of them. I'm not asking whether you want to be different. I made you different from the beginning. Every detail of you, how you feel, how you perceive, how you think, was woven together for a specific calling in this very hour. When you begin to compare yourself to others, you forget that I never duplicate myself in two identical lives. No one else can take your place in the assignment I've written. If you do not rise up, there will be no perfect substitute. Do not wait for someone else to affirm you. I have already affirmed you. Don't believe that you must have everything in place to begin. The calling comes before the equipping. I will provide what's lacking as you step forward. As I said in Isaiah 6-8, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" And Isaiah answered, "Here am I. Send me." I'm not looking for the most capable. I am looking for the one who responds. You have heard my voice, and I have seen your heart lean toward obedience. Remember Daniel, just a young man taken captive into Babylon? Yet he did not allow his circumstances to blur his calling. In the midst of a foreign culture, Daniel remained pure and faithful to me. As a result, not only was he not consumed, he rose to become a counselor to kings. He was not just chosen for a position, he was chosen for a generation. And he lived it out. So it is with you. You were not chosen just for yourself. You were chosen for this generation. For those who have never known me. For those who are lost. For those waiting for a true voice. That voice is yours. Those hands are yours. That love, it is you who carry it. And if you do not rise, no one else can fully take your place in my divine plan. Do not underestimate yourself. Don't wait for a louder calling. You have already been chosen. The role has been given. Now is the time to step into place. I have been equipping you through the years, through wounds, through trials. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, has been preparation for the mission I've entrusted to you. And no one else can carry that preparation but you. I declare, you are my instrument chosen, set apart, and sent. This generation needs you. I'm not looking for a replica of someone else. I'm looking for you, the one I designed, called out, and love without change. My child, if you're wondering why this letter has reached you now, let me remind you once more. This is not coincidence. Not a single word here is by accident, and not one line is wasted. I have written in haste, for the time has come. Now is the moment for you to rise. Now is the time to lift your head, to cast off shame, to stop bowing before the past, to stop hiding from the call. You are no longer who you once were. You have walked through the trial. You did not collapse. Even if you think you've just been surviving, I say this to you, you have overcome in silence. Every time you did not turn away from me. Every time you kept your heart pure in the darkness. Every time you chose forgiveness instead of bitterness, that was when you were taking each step closer to the destiny I wrote for you. Remember this, you are not just called, you are chosen. Not because you were more skilled than others, but because you were willing. Not because you've never failed, but because you've learned how to rise again. I chose you from among many because I saw in you something the world might overlook, a soul refined, and a spirit still tender before me. From this day forward, live as one who is sent. Walk as one who carries the flame, as one whose eyes no longer search for approval from man, but seek only the affirmation of heaven. You don't need permission. I've given you authority. You don't need another sign. This letter is your confirmation. You are the one I will use. I do not need perfection. I need obedience. Do not forget what I have promised. Wherever you go, I will be there. Whatever you face, I have gone before you. Even when you feel weak, I will be strong enough for both of us. And when you don't know what to do, remember, all you need is to return to me, and you will find the way again. I love you with a love that cannot be measured, that knows no conditions, that will not be moved. That love has kept you through the old journey, and that same love will carry you into the new path I am now opening before you. So, my child, the time has come. Step out. Step forward. This generation is waiting for your voice, and I, your father, am watching and smiling. Thank you for listening to this message. Know this, you are not just an audience, you are chosen to live daily in the presence of God's Word. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any sacred message. Amen.